All right, internet lands. This is Nephente. Coming through the fibers, and I'm sure there is copper involved somewhere still in the fine grid of the internet. And hopefully stuff is working as it should. At least there is one person here who knows everything. Not sure if I am the best of the best or if it's Jefferson, Harris, Steve. Doesn't matter. We're all the best. Warmly welcome. And today I'm trying to do a multi-stream where I put one stream on Facebook and one on YouTube. And who knows, maybe that will be brilliant. It's the 29th of June, which is a Monday. And as you have noticed by now, I am going Mondays. And we actually have a viewer also on fucking YouTube. So it seems it works there too. Cool. Jonas, welcome to the stream. I do Mondays. I go on at about 8, or pretty precisely 8. And then I go for normally for about 30 minutes. And then if it's a good day, which it is today, which has been most days I've been streaming, I will have a guest joining me and we will talk a little about his or her band. And it's stuff, people that I like personally, and or music I like personally. Has to be at least one, right? Hopefully 2. So this is not, a big media effort to promote all kinds of extreme metal in general. It's shit that I like. And like I said, I'm Nephente. I'm the vocalist of NETHERBIRD. I'm the vocalist of RIKET. And I do bits and pieces in the extreme metal scene and have been, well, sort of an active artist on and off since 1990. So I've been around the block for a bit. Sometimes that's a good thing because it gives you some perspectives. Sometimes it's a really bad thing because it makes you slow picking up new shit. So that is why I need people like the rest of you to help me find stuff. M. Ethel Jason, hello back. Vladan, seen you before. And fuck, yeah, it is already Monday. And Mondays suck. I guess most of you are still experiencing the world more or less like I do, and that is, it's still semi-isolated, and we're sort of stuck at home or with at least less social interaction. This weekend I actually been meeting people for the first time in a long time, and you become tired because you're sort of Beatrix, hey, you become a little bit unused to it, or at least I do. I'm normally a pretty talkative fuck, and I guess I still am, but I feel more tired now since I don't meet people so often. So I sort of forgotten how to people. I don't really know how to human like I used to. So I practiced humaning Friday, and I had beer and wine that helped me to human. And then I got hungover, and but it was really nice to meet, catch up, good old friends. And speaking of good old friends, Jane, good to see you again, and Gekai. Good to see you also. And it's fun, this fact that I recognize people in the chat since we've been doing this for some time. I think this is the 14th time I am broadcasting. So I thought I'd do it 2 or 3 times, but here we are. And I have a pretty long list of people whom I promised to share this stream with. So I'll be going on because... yeah, I'm a little bit like an all-in guy. In any case, Saturday, I had a visiting guy who's the tour manager had some wine with him and his girlfriend. Tour managers are made of steel. So that's always a bad idea. I didn't try to outdrink him, which would, of course, have killed me. But I I suffered more than he did the day after, which was yesterday. But it was fun to human again a little bit to actually, just see people, some old familiar faces and some new one. That is sort of what life should be. And in a normal state, when you do music, you meet a lot of new people, and it's sort of you feed off that energy. Or I do. Some hate it, but I think I need it. So I feel I'm tired now because it's been not just a weekend, but it's been a long time of this, I don't know, limbo state. It's okay though. And I do this and I meet you guys, which is nice. But hey, Julia, good to see you too. Been a while. And loud and see dead people. I'm not there yet, but it's not far away. I think the brain will start making tricks, to keep us company. Any case, I'm gonna have some beers with you. I'm gonna share some music and speak some, low and high stuff. But I've been criticized for drinking Guinness in a cider glass. So I have finally amended my ways and got the proper glass. So maybe now we can drop that issue. And I am a person of refinement who will adopt and learn. And in any case, it's still a glass and it's Guinness. So that's nice. So cheers, guys. Cheers. Yeah, the post corona life comes up. It does, slowly and gradually. I also do a podcast, so I did that yesterday, and there I sit with some, the drummer for NETHERBIRD, and also Erin, who is works as a manager for several bands, and we've been discussing when, if ever, it will be the way it used to be in the music scene, and not everything will be exactly as we knew it. But of course, things will be much better, and we won't just have to stream stuff. So hopefully, at some point, we will start to meet in the environment where we like to be. For me, that means I can go and see live gigs again. I really miss it. I don't necessarily miss, of course I miss that too, but it's not just, the band playing songs that I really like. I just like the vibe of being with other strangers in a room looking at music, and that experience has always been very strong and appealing to me. So I certainly miss that. But in any case, I'm a very modern and very, internet-savvy internet person. So I've had internet questions interneted to me. And I've been discussing videos, my hypocrisy when it comes to underground metal, all sorts of stuff. And it's because people have asked me, sent me the questions. So feel free to do that. If you're free to ask whatever, and I will try to answer best I can. But this time around, I've got some questions. One question is regarding this symbol that NETHERBIRD is using, because it looks like a rune, or it looks, I don't know. Anybody here who knows what it is? There is a delay here, so when you answer, I already answered it anyway. Now, actually, this is the symbol of severe thunder, and this means also rain. So the R-ish symbol is for severe thunder. And we've been using it as our way of honoring nature, the majesty of nature. And it's been on everything we've done since we started in 2004, and we keep doing it. It's a pretty neat symbol also. This is a patch. If anybody wants this particular patch, send me an email on info@netherbird.com First one sends an email, first one gets it. So don't hesitate. Don't do much giveaways and stuff, but if you want a patch for your jacket, this is a perfect one. And there is also this other thing. So this is sort of the NETHERBIRD insignia, established 2004, Sweden. Yes, we come from there. NETHERBIRD, name of the band. But it also says Svensk jävla svetta, which means Swedish fucking darkness, which has also been sort of the thing we've been doing since we started. Because when we started NETHERBIRD, and and Vladan, you won. I'll write back and ask for your address. Thank you for being quick. We didn't really set out to do a specific sort of music. So the only thing, the three of us was me, Bismarck, and a guy called Grim. We said we're gonna do dark music, and hence the Swedish fucking darkness slogan. It happened to be pretty much death, blackish influenced, melodic, whatever, extreme metal. But who knows, 10, 20 years from now, where we are going. But I can promise it will still be dark music, and most likely it will not change so much. But when we started out, we didn't have a set plan, or we want to do this or that. So that is also why I think NETHERBIRD has been constantly evolving, because we feel we want to incorporate new things and try new things, and also stay away from making the same recording time and time again. But why am I talking like this, like some old ranting person, besides being an old ranting person? It's because I got a question if I could talk a little about the various releases we've done. And we've done a lot. So I was thinking I can talk about one release per stream. So I will start at the very beginning. And this is a picture disc. It's a vinyl. And on one side, it's the Boulevard Black. On the B side, it's the Blood Orchid. Orchid. I mispronounce it actually badly in the lyrics, and I just did it again. Boulevard Black was the first song that we recorded. It wasn't on vinyl then. That's where me, Grim, and Bismarck, we've been talking to do something, but we went to the Dissection Rebirth gig, and that is where we were. We were at the gig. It was an evening, of course, quite unique, and in the end, we felt that okay, so we should do something together. So NETHERBIRD was founded on that very evening. But the first thing we did was to see what sort of music we could make. So Grim mainly wrote what would become Boulevard Black. I arranged it with him, and I wrote the lyrics. And Bismarck was more the producer than anything else. But he quickly joined as a third person. But in the beginning, that was the roles we had. But the person who wrote to me, Thomas, wanting to know more about the various recordings also and who were on them. And I understand that, because when you look on, the list of people that's been part of NETHERBIRD, it's a long list. And it's because in the beginning, we had very different lineups for every recording. So during Boulevard Black, we recruited Janne Sarenpää, who is the drummer, or no longer, but he used to be the drummer for The Crown, which is, in my opinion, one of the coolest bands ever from Sweden. But I guess most have heard them. I mean, they are obviously known, and rightly so. So that was the first thing we did, was to ask him, and he said yes. And he said yes to do one song. Little did he know that it's like 10 minutes of extreme drumming, but he was in good shape. So it turned out okay in the end. More than okay. He did a phenomenal effort. and it was such a pleasure just being in the studio with such a musician. I mean, he played in a way that we never experienced a drummer being able to do before. So that was really cool. And so we did that, and I'm very grateful that he took his time to try a complete, new band out and to do this. So that was really cool. So that means that it was Grim, it was Bismarck, it was me, and then it was Janne Sarenpää. And then it's a guy whose name is Bryce Leclerc, who was at the time involved in the Rebirth Dissection lineup for some time. But after he stopped doing that, we asked him if he could, and he's a French guy, really good bassist, and he was based in Sweden in those days. Now he lives in France again. But we asked him if he could write the bass and record it, and he said yes. So then we had a lot, some known names with us. So that has always made things easier further on. Besides them, it's a guy called Alex who did the lead guitars. And Alex, I've lost contact with. I never, communicated with him after we did this really tricky guitar recording with him in Stockholm. And he performed. He's such a brilliant guitarist. But he left Sweden and moved to LA. And since then, I've never heard of him. So if you're listening, Alex, hit me up. It would be cool to meet again. It's been a long time. Thank you for the effort. And besides those guys, a girl, Tranquil Chaos, composed and wrote the intro on piano for Boulevard Black. Another pianist, Eva Edding, composed and played the outro of Boulevard Black. So two different pianists. And then we had a choir joining us for the recording of that song, and it's 8 guys, and we recorded a few different takes with them, so there are more voices. And they were actually part of the Stockholm Nobel Choir, so they've sung at the Nobel Prize party in Stockholm, which is pretty cool. They were extremely good at what they did. The partiture that I wrote with the choir parts, I actually miswrote one of them. So that was a female, quite high voice that one of them was able to do, but he was a little bit pissed afterwards. It's like, do you have any idea how hard it was to sing that fucking tone? I was like, no. Okay, so I miswrote it. Okay. And he's like, okay, thank you. But I recorded for you anyway. So there you go. So that is how the first song ever with NETHERBIRD was recorded. We recorded it in various studios. So we recorded it in Stockholm, in Malmö, I think that was Berno was the name of that studio. We recorded drums in Gothenburg or outside Gothenburg. We recorded bass in Västerås. So we've been all over just to make that very recording happen. And in the end, I mean, it's typical for what it is. We tried many IDs, and almost the song is just filled to the brim with IDs. It's very, everything from, blast beats to slow passages. But it's also sort of a manifest of everything that could be. Hey, Patrick, welcome. Everything that could be NETHERBIRD. And some aspects you heard return later on, and some aspects I think were one-offs where we didn't feel exactly right for us. The song I think is something like 14 minutes in total, and we played it live once, and that was hell on earth, especially for me, because there's a lot of vocals. Kim Jung Miyazaki, I think. I am sorry if I mispronounced it, but you're watching for the Philippines, which is awesome. And I'm transmitting from Stockholm, Philippines. That must be pretty fucking late or early, right? Any case, in Stockholm now it's 2023 because I've been blabbing here. But actually, since this is the day of generosity, This is a very limited picture disc where Boulevard Black is on one side. And this is number 162 out of 250. If you want it, mail me on info@netherbird.com. And you could be the lucky winner. You can also buy them if you want to support the band. But I just happen to feel that I've been a little bit, not gifting away stuff. And I don't mean to be cheap. Because stuff we've got. But that was a little bit about the first ever recording. So, and that is based on the question that was sent to me. So if you feel you want to know more about anything NETHERBIRDian or anything Nephente, whatever, just ask me. Ladan, I did that 10 minutes ago. Yeah, but that was for the patch. But then again, you were quick, so we'll see. But first the patch, and no, it's no worries. I'm not greedy either, and I actually, to me, the stuff is that I never done anything for money when it comes to metal. I don't live from metal. I live because of metal, and to me, we always try to be the band that is, have a decent approach to when it comes to costs and stuff. We try to not be unreasonable when it comes to what money we ask for to perform, or if we go to a country where merchandise is very, very expensive, we try to sell them as cheap as possible, hopefully without losing money, because for us it's so important that people who actually give a fuck can afford to buy stuff, not just the richest person in the room, because that's normally not the person we might like the most or want the most to carry our logo, whatever. So I mean, but then there's a reality of it also. I mean, making music costs money. I mean, that is admittedly part of the reality also. And I mean, of course, if we could, sell huge amounts of stuff, that would be nice, I suppose. But that has never been the true. Is not the driving force, because then extreme metal is just such a stupid choice. Because there's other music which is much easier to sell in huge numbers. In any case. Good question. Do you perform here in the Philippines? No, we haven't done that yet. And Göke, you won a vinyl. And Vladan, I'll make some compensation for you also. We haven't played in the Philippines yet. We haven't actually played outside Europe at this point, because we're a small band. And this is a small niched music scene. So it's very costly for us to go, for instance, to the Philippines to play, even if we don't charge anything to be on stage. Just the cost of the flights alone makes it more or less impossible for an organizer to book a band like us, because we don't bring 5,000 people to the show. All bands in this extreme metal are pretty small. So and for an organizer, there's always, if they're going to pay X amount of money, they need to know that X amount of people show up. So at least they break even, hopefully make a little bit. And then just the flights makes it expensive. But we surely hope to be able to do gigs further away. But then we need to do it in some sort of tour thingy. And I think we need to have a little bit more of a liftoff in certain areas, so we can sort of, not guarantee, but at least we can say that, there's some decent amount of people listening to our music in this area, because then it's much better and easier for the organizer to do that without, them becoming completely also broke, because we don't want that, of course. We want the organizer to be happy and hopefully be able to put some butter on their bread at the end of the day. But the only way, more or less, that you can do it is to tie a lot of those gigs together in a tour, and hopefully find an organizer that can at least cover part of the cost, and then we can take part of the risk as well. We wouldn't mind doing that. Long answer. So we have every desire to play wherever we are welcome, but we need to also be able to finance it, at least part of it, so we don't have to pay it all ourselves. So spread the word in the Philippines. If there is enough people there wanting us to play, an organizer will say, fuck, I can make a buck of this. I will book those Swedish persons and put them on a stage. Or we can, you can also say that, of course, it's more intriguing to go somewhere warm when it's, February in Sweden and we're freezing our asses off and feel even more depressed than usual. Then a gig in the Philippines would feel pretty good, because we go there for vacation if we can afford it. So it would be lovely to play. Like I said earlier, I have a guest who's going to come on. He's not here yet, so he might show up, or he leaves me high and dry. No, he doesn't. But I am going to be VJing here, because I'm such a modern internet person. So I'll play a song with his band for the time being, and because I want you guys to hear this. Makes everything nice and comfortable.
Your sorrow, I invoke the Lord of Days.
Really powerful stuff. Fuck. This is nice. And I better like it because my guest Joakim might be able to shed some more light on this, and I will just internet him into the internet. Let's see if.
Hello, Johan.
Hey,
Hey,
man.
how are you?
It's all good. It's fucking warm and humid again. We had a thunderstorm from hell this night. I guess you guys did too.
Yep, we woke up in the middle of the night due to it. So definitely.
But now it's warm again. So, but it's been a long time since we met, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I've just had a few weeks of vacation. But I'm back at work now, so trying to avoid people on the subway, etc. So
yeah, I mean, social distancing. I mean, we have had pretty lax. I mean, not so many laws, but I mean, it's the same rules. Everybody's trying to stay the fuck away, and
yeah,
I'd say in most cases it seems to be working now, at least.
Yeah, it's a bit deserted everywhere, basically.
Yeah, it is.
Even though it's summer, it's a pretty weird sensation.
Really, we're stuck in Stockholm and we can't really get out of here. I mean, we're not even allowed into most countries right now, which is a fucking strange feeling, right?
Yeah. Well, I think that should have been the case several years ago, considering how Swedes are on vacation, you know.
Yeah, well, yes, it's they've been waiting for the time to close the fucking borders.
At last, we get rid of those pesky Swedes.
I mean, we've been pretty pesky tourists since the Viking Age, more or less. We've always been the complicated fuckers when we show up.
Yeah, exactly. Like we went away on our Viking ships and figured, well, what about the world, And then everyone else was like, no, please go back home.
Go home.
Don't ever visit us again. And nothing much has changed since then, I guess.
No, we changed the Viking ships to tour buses, but the behavior is still the same. We come, we act like assholes. We try to, lay siege to their money and their women, and it's the same.
Yeah, and get really shit-faced.
Exactly, and that we always succeed with. But thank you for taking time to join my very impromptu, very as it is casual stream, Maria, because I just want to let NETHERBIRD listeners and others experience more music than our music. And you guys, can you tell me a little bit about, the background of the band? And you're in other bands too, because you're one of these multi, active people. Can you tell me a little bit, if we start a little bit with you and your background?
Yeah, sure. People who don't know me, I'm Joakim. I play guitars and vocals in Desolator, and also vocalist of Within the Fall, which is a doom death metal band, I guess. I've been doing this with Desolator for over 10 years now. I think we started in 2009, which actually is my first real band. So we've been growing constantly since our first really bad demo, I think, until this song that you heard now, which we are extremely happy with this album, actually. So it's the first time I feel releasing an album is like I can't do anything better from that moment in time when we recorded the album, basically. Of course, we can get better in the future, but this is the first time I feel like really happy with the end result, 100%. You can probably understand and relate to this as well, because you're never really truly happy with an album. It's always like, this detail could have been better, But we're really excited actually about this album. So
cool, and it sounds really, really good. So who else is in the band?
It's me and Jonas Bergqvist, who plays bass and also vocals, and Stefan Nordström, who's the other guitarist and vocalist. We're 3 vocalists in the band. I like Nile,
Yeah, exactly. Very much a Nile situation. Yeah.
And we have Victor Parry on drums, who also plays in Isole and Valkyria, for example.
Yep. all very versatile musicians. Actually, you guys, you do a lot of stuff. It's impressive.
Yeah, it's quite funny because every member of the band has a doom metal side project, basically. And I'm not sure how that turned out, but there we are. I guess people are really depressed in Scandinavia. Is the explanation.
Yeah. How did it happen that you started with extreme metal? I mean, a lot of people in this chat, I mean, they're just like you and me. I mean, we're nothing different. We're just metalheads who like, extreme music. But how did that start with you? How old were you? Which band did you fall, for?
I was pretty late, actually, finding metal in general, I guess. It wasn't until maybe when I was 14, 15 or so that I really started finding metal, but I wouldn't consider my metalhead until a couple of years after, when I discovered bands like In Flames and Dimmu Borgir and Opeth, stuff like that really got me into the metal mindset, if you will. And then it just went downhill from there, I guess. Finding death metal was a big thing for me. I think Opeth is probably one of the bands that I can attribute a lot of my musician part of, or interest part in being a musician. And then finding bands like Cryptopsy and Bloodbath really cemented the death metal part of me. So I basically skipped the entire like classic metal part. I know a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I grew up listening to Kiss or Iron Maiden and stuff like that. I just skipped that part and went for death metal.
Yeah.
Even though I still listen to some of that nowadays, but it's still not the path I took to finding metal.
Yeah, and I mean it explains a lot. I mean, if you fall into Opeth, I mean the bar is so fucking high. I fell into Terrorize and Repulsion and stuff. That the easy shit. That really, I mean,
yeah. As a guitarist, it was pretty difficult, finding your music interest with the more difficult bands. Yeah. Like if I started playing guitar to maybe, I don't know, Nirvana or something, maybe I would have had an easier path,
much
into
easier.
the life. But I started off trying to learn Opeth songs. So
yeah, well, there you go. That also explains maybe a little bit why the death metal you write is a little bit more intricate than the death metal I wrote, 25 odd years ago. And this is also how it is. I mean, if you're 15 today and you start listening, then you hear fucking cattle decapitation, and that is the bar you need. It's like, how the fuck can you turn into a drummer when you hear that shit? I mean, where do you start?
Exactly.
It must be horrible.
It's like when you look at YouTube musicians or whatever, and they're like, yeah, I started playing guitar half a year ago, and then they play the Faceless or some technical death metal stuff, and you're like, yeah, I can't play that now 15 years later after starting playing the guitar.
I know. No, but I mean the bar is so high today, but and the fucking kids, they will always outshine us, and every generation will be destroyed by the next generation. That's just how things are.
Yeah. I think the most important aspect of music is never technicality.
No,
it's just writing good songs, basically. And I think in both my bands, that's always been the focus. It's sometimes you can have we should have a blast beat here, but it's never because we should have a blast beat. It's because it should further the song in some way.
Yeah. The album you have coming now, I mean, watching the lyric video, and I'm so happy actually, not because previously I took on guests and I wasn't able to because I didn't have this platform, so I couldn't play the music. But it feels so good to be able to actually showcase the stuff you are doing before having you on here. But can you tell a little bit about what the album, is? Are there any themes, lyrical themes and stuff? What's the idea with the album?
Yeah, we basically both Jonas and Stefan are the lyricists in the band, and they're quite different approaches to writing lyrics. Jonas is more focused on the Lovecraftian and more occult stuff, like on this song that you played,
Yep.
Portal Tomb. And Stefan is more focused alongside lyrics like Immolation Rites, more politically and worldly themes, like misanthropic and pretty like sad themes, actually, for death metal, I think, in some ways, but with a more how do you say it? Well, a more misanthropic approach, I guess. But we realized since we started the band that the themes actually match quite well with the Lovecraftian, like anti-cosmic horror theme and the misanthropic themes.
The sort of meat,
aren't so far. Yeah, they aren't so
Yeah.
far apart, actually. So yeah, it kind of creates a theme for the album, I think, overall.
And the album, it's you are releasing it with Black Lion, right?
Yes.
Fun label. I mean, they really pick up so many good bands and so active. It's great to see, and
Yeah.
I mean, I support them wholeheartedly. Really cool.
And it's a really small label as well. It's like Oliver, who is the manager or the owner of the label, basically. He does so much on his own, and from an outside point of view, you might not realize it how much he actually does. But yeah, it's really good finding such a small label that you can have like a intimate relationship with.
Yeah.
Instead of having like this gray mass of the label somewhere out in the distance, you know, and so it's really good, actually.
Yeah, and the thing is that if you have the right person, they can do so much, and he's so passionate. And if you have this huge label, that always feels good. But who's paying that? Yeah, it's you paying it. I mean, they make the money from the music. So I mean, the bigger the label, the more it costs to run it. And for our type of music, that's normally maybe not so optimum, actually.
Yeah, because I'm rather at a small label where I know there's an interest, a true interest in our music, rather than being on a big label that you know, just sees us as, oh, I hope they bring us some money, you know.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
that's not why we play metal, you know.
No, I mean it's such a tragic place to start, and I think actually it's really hard to do relevant death or black metal or whatever if you are. I think it's really hard to mean it if you sit in a pool in Florida. Unless it's a really shitty pool in some mobile home area, but I mean, it's hard to be a multi-millionaire and write relevant thrash. I think Metallica is a perfect example of that. It's something happens, so you got to be a little bit underdog and hungry to make relevant music.
Yeah, I think you need to make music for the right reasons, basically. Like if you still enjoy what you're doing, I think you're doing something right. And,
for sure.
And then just don't care about what other people think.
Yeah.
Basically.
I mean, Slayer is an example that you can keep some sort of integrity and still do very extreme music, even though I think they peaked 30 years ago. But that's because I'm old and stuff.
Yeah, and jaded.
Yeah, fuck. Yeah. But when is the album out?
It's on September 4th. So it's about 2 months, I guess.
Yeah. Feels pretty good, right?
Yeah, we have a new single coming out later this week as well. So
cool.
Something to whet the appetite until then.
Absolutely. And this is hopeless right now to ask any musician, okay, so what's the plan now? Everybody's like, yeah, fuck if I know. But
world tour, obviously.
Exactly. But COVID will not last forever. And how do you see the progress for the band from this point?
Well, the thought while we were recording the album and working on all the release parts behind the scenes was to start playing live more often. But then, everyone knows what happened afterwards.
Yeah.
So we had to rethink a bit. So I think right now the focus is just getting everything as good as possible for the release, and maybe recording a video, stuff like that you often have to stress around when you're playing live, because it's like, oh yeah, we need to do this and rehearse for this show, and all that. So it's, in some ways it's easier to focus now, and in some ways it's not, because I've barely met my band members for like a half year or something. Like, we've seen each other, but not in a band capacity, basically.
Yeah. It's weird, right? I mean, everything we were so doing so, but then again, you get to appreciate the fact that it's going to be fun to rehearse for real when it's when it can happen. Got a little question here from Jane. Did COVID delay the release of the record, or had you guys already planned to do it in September?
The record has been released, but not due to COVID. It's been, well, I think it happens in most cases, I guess. There are delays because of, life and recording stuff, and, unexpected stuff happens always along the way. So I think the plan to begin with was actually to release it during the spring. But stuff happened, and then due to COVID, maybe we've decided to push it up a bit. But I don't think COVID in general is a big catalyst in this case.
No. And I mean, this is the case every time. And this is why bands, especially when you've been in the game for a little bit, you never say when you start recording an album, because people will start, okay, so when is it out? We have no idea. First off, the recording process can go to hell. Then the writing process can go to hell. Then the recording can go to hell. Then the label can fuck it up. And then, and it can take a year. It can take 2 years. It's awful.
We had a lot of setbacks. We actually recorded the drums, I think, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So
that's something.
And then it's been like a journey in between, fixing everything, and things not going as you planned, and you need to like rethink and reschedule and stuff like that. So
but I mean, this is totally expected. I mean, I would be more surprised if I ever meet a band that's like, we actually released it a little bit earlier than we first planned. I mean, that has never happened.
Exactly.
It's this
everything worked perfectly the entire way.
And we actually enjoyed every minute in the studio. Yeah, right.
Whoa. Studio is like I'd say 10% fun and 90% work, basically.
It's I mean, when I was a kid, I always thought, going in the studio, with your friends, drinking beer, doing what you love. And in the end, it's only, to me, it's like a little bit a part of hell, because, you only see what's wrong all the time with everything you do. And the stress and the pressure is enormous.
Yeah, I remember when we recorded our first demo with Desolator. Like, I think one of the songs were recorded with a different distortion on the guitars, because someone had been, mixing about with the levels and stuff. So shit happens, basically, and we were probably a bit drunk recording vocals and stuff like that.
Could have happened, right?
It was probably more fun doing it that way, but the end result, it's not as good, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta love it, and it's got to be, we're professional some days, but not all days. And I mean, here we are having a beer and talking about it, and I mean, this is how it is for most bands, and I mean, that is the reality. Do you have any plans for gigs or festivals or anything like that, or are you will take that later on, or how does it look?
Yeah, we don't have anything really planned, but sure. We'd love to gig,
Yeah.
I think the plan would have been to play festivals this summer, but
life
No.
happened. No.
Exactly.
And we'll see. Next year, I think it will be extremely tightly booked. Everything, if we actually will be able to do live concerts, we don't know that yet. I mean, we hope for it, but
I think that for each country, it might the Corona situation might have helped the country's local scenes probably in the long run, because my feeling with the Swedish metal scene, it's I don't know, it's not very nice. Like they're nice people, but people are kind of lazy going to shows. Me included. You know, it's like, oh no, I've seen that band twice before.
Yeah.
Why should I go see them again? You know.
Yeah.
It's like because it's Wednesday or
exactly
whatever reason, you know.
And it's in another city. Oh no.
Oh no. It's like 30 minutes away. No, but yeah, I hope that this will cause people to attend local gigs more, and for it to give some like positive outcome in the end.
Yeah,
because I think it will be a while until you can do like world tours and stuff like that again.
I think so, and I mean the small scenes will open first. So I mean, 50 people capacity, 100 people capacity. So really, underground gigs should soon be more possible to do. Have you guys played at Fredagsmangel in Jakobsberg?
We haven't actually.
No?
I think it started up just before the Corona situation, or
like, more or less, yeah.
Yeah. So no, we haven't actually played there, but I'd love to. It's super close to our rehearsal space as well.
You guys should do it.
Yeah.
We could do something together with RIKET, because we haven't played there either, and we said we would, and then COVID happened, and we felt okay, so we can make that happen. So at least I get to see you guys live.
Exactly, and we'd love to do some kind of release gig for the album. But as it is right now, it's very hard to plan for something like that.
Yeah, it is. It is. Have you been watching any of the streams that bands have put out? I mean, the lives?
Not a lot of them, but I did watch the Catatonia live gig that they did in the Gröndal studio.
Yeah.
And I must say I was very pleasantly surprised, because it was actually one of their best gigs, which was a surprise for me.
Yeah.
So I haven't checked out a lot of other bands. Just like watched a few clips on YouTube here and there, but it seems the bands are adapting. So some like it's a bit weird watching a band with no audience. It's like watching a rehearsal space gig basically by yourself. So it's weird, but it's good that you can still watch your favorite bands play. You know.
I think what is cool is that young people can watch their favorite bands, because they're never let into the venues otherwise. So I mean that is a good aspect.
I've forgotten about that aspect. You know.
Yeah,
growing old.
Exactly, you never think about it. But when I went to my first gigs, there were no age limit, because people, that was just unheard of. But these days, you got to be 18, which sucks, because I mean, when you're 16, you're really passionate. Have to wait several years just because. So I think it's weird that they can't fix that, with some bracelets for alcohol, whatever. But yeah, Swedish law. So no such fun.
Yeah, but I can understand it, because as you grow older, you want to grab a beer while you're watching a band, And the alcohol laws in Sweden are pretty tight compared to other countries. So if there's alcohol at the place, you need to have an ID. And
that's really how it is. And alcohol is like, and despite all these rules and regulations, Swedes still can't really handle it so well. So I mean, we know how it is out there. So
exactly.
I get that. But just to see, have you discovered any new music, or any? How did you pass the time in this isolation shit? Have you heard any new music, any series that you've been watching, just to tip me off, and maybe some others can also pick up some inspirations?
I think the latest band that I really discovered is a Danish band called Vola.
Yeah.
Not sure if you heard of them.
No, I haven't actually.
They opened for Catatonia a few years back, and they play like a weird mix of Porcupine Tree and Meshuggah, if that makes sense.
No, it doesn't.
But it's like a genty version of Porcupine Tree, if you will.
It sounds extremely complicated.
Yeah, it's very progressive, while at the same time it's very poppy, which their latest album just struck me pretty much at once. My guitarist Stefan, he was buggering me about this band for like half a year or something, and then I was like, oh well, okay, I'll check him out, and then that album just became my album of the year, basically.
Cool.
I think I listened to it more than any other album last year.
So Vola.
So it's a enkel V, as we say in Sweden.
Yeah.
OLA.
Right. Yeah, Jane knows. Jane, you are Danish, aren't you? That's rude if you aren't. But and also Steven, greetings. I'm just doing this multimedia shit here. I'm so extremely impressed with myself. I'm sorry, Joakim, but it's I'm just amazed. Any TV series or anything that you've been watching? Any tips there?
I haven't been watching a lot of shows, actually. I know a lot of people have been watching more shows during the Corona era, or what we should call it. But I think me and my girlfriend, been watching less shows, actually. Probably a lot now due to the summer weather. But I'm trying to think if I've been watching some really good show lately. We've been watching a lot of like half good shows just to be able to, relax and.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, we watched the Great, of course, that you also watched, I know.
Yeah.
And it was pretty great, actually.
It is pretty great. I mean, the Swedish King Hugo, the son of Olaf the Okay. Very interesting historical characters, but I fucking loved it.
I was like, did we ever have a king not called Karl or Gustav or something like that?
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't. So, but I watched the first season of Dark, a German show. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I did.
And I noticed the third season is actually out, so I have a lot of catching up to do there. But
it's a great really good series, show. I think. Yeah, I've watched it first. I did watch it with like English speech, which was dubbed, and it drove me insane. So I had to go with the German instead. I'm not good at German, but just the syncing fucked me up. But I love Dark. It's great.
I don't speak German at all, but there's this. Since Swedish and German are so close to each other, it's like you feel like you almost understand what they're saying. Yeah. But I use subtitles, of course. I don't just
me too.
guess. But it's really great, but I have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah, and I mean the series is also pretty advanced with multi timelines and shit.
Yeah.
I always have to ask my girlfriend, what's happening, because I really don't pay attention enough. But I like it. I really like it. Let's see. I just got it. I just got to put up a few things here. Yeah. Alcohol and concerts should always be together. Yes, it sounds wrong, but I agree. I mean, I don't go to a gig only to see music. I go there to enjoy life with friends, and I have to say, alcohol really makes a difference.
It's a big part of it. Yeah,
it is actually. I mean, it sounds weird, but nobody's forcing anyone to drink. But if you want a beer or 5, you should have it, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I used to drink.
Jane has a question.
Yeah. Alcohol is good. Shows you don't have to get it if you ain't old enough for it. Yeah, I know. This is Danish people. They can sort of. They are a little bit more relaxed when it comes to alcohol. I used to drink.
We have a lot of like friendly neighborhood battles, Swedes and Danes.
Yeah, I mean, we spent like 600 years trying to destroy the other nation, but in the end, we have to just realize, okay, that the Danish people seem a little bit more happy in general. So I guess they won.
I guess they're okay.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
But the album is out in September, and I urge anyone to check it out. If you're into, deathy metal, then there is a lot of stuff there, I'm sure. And you should really pick up the CD to support the band and to support the label, 'cause especially these days, it's fucking important. And make sure to shout to local organizers also if there is, I mean, they want to go out and play. So, I mean, if you want, to help a Swedish band out, make sure to let your local gig organizers know. Because it helps a lot.
I think that's the easiest way of a band getting a gig, basically. If a promoter gets lots of people saying, "Oh, you should book this band," they will.
Then they will
because they want people coming to the shows, basically.
Yeah.
So if we as a band just call it, "Oh, can we play?" It's like, yeah, but do you have an audience?
Exactly.
Well, it's hard to prove,
It's really hard to prove. And also, once you get like a gig, then you can ask bands in the area if there are any other gigs on, dates before or after that gig. And that's normally how you can put together, the basic first tours. And they're normally quite fine, actually. So, I'm going to wrap this up a little bit, but I'm so grateful that you took your time to check in. And hopefully a few people will find your music, and I have to say I'm really looking forward to this album because it does really sound great.
Yeah, thank you.
So
I'm super excited to release it as well. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it should feel. But thank you so much, and see you around hopefully pretty soon.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good day. Cheers.
See you, man. Cheers. And I am gonna, also wrap this thing up. Vladan, you said that Serbian gig organizers. NETHERBIRD has never played in Serbia, and we would love to. We played in other nations in the region, but not in Serbia yet, and we really need to amend that. We need to get out on the road again, and just as Joakim mentioned, I mean, the best way to ever make bands who are not on the huge scale to come and gig is to talk to local organizers and tip them off, because that normally makes everything so much easier. Guys, it's been a privilege, and once again, an hour runs pretty quickly, and I'm deeply satisfied to see that there are familiar faces showing up again and again, and I'm grateful for that. So as long as you show up, I will show up. So because when I'm alone here, there will be it will be a bad time. So know that it really matters that you are in this chat, taking as much space as you could possibly take. Never feel that you shouldn't ask a question or whatever. You can always write to me afterwards or whatever, but also write in the chat. I will do my absolute best to see what's happening there. And I'll also keep on booking bands for just, to make you guys meet some new faces and discover some new stuff. And there will be everything from death and black and neo-folk, whatever. I listen to a lot of music, and I have the privilege of meeting a lot of people that I like and who create stuff that is, to me, very inspiring. And also, it showcases, to me at least, that the underground is alive and well in Scandinavia. But if you guys have bands that you think I should check out, write to me on Facebook, tip me off, and I will listen to it, because I always like to discover new stuff, or just share it in the chat or as a comment when you find the video afterwards, because that's a way to also make sure that other people have the chance as well. And if I take a liking to it, I might also try to get them on here. But there's quite a line before I can put on new guests. So it's fully booked until somewhere in August, whatever. But in any case, please help me find new music, and sharing is caring, as they say. if there are any questions, you can also write it afterwards, and me will also forward them to Joakim if there's anything you want to know about his projects, of course. But for now, I'll wrap this puppy up, and I thank you so much for tuning in, and make sure to be here whenever you can and whenever you're bored. Mondays, 8 to 9 p.m. Swedish time. I will do it for as long as you do it. Until then, I urge you to wash the hands, keep social distance, be smart, but also try to find some stuff in life that is, worth making it worth living. For me, music plays a great part, and I think for me, it's been one of the factors why I had more time to discover music than I've been in a long time, and I also got good suggestions from you, and so for me that makes a little bit of a difference, actually. But also you guys showing up here makes my Mondays much more fun. So until next Monday, I wish you all the best. See you guys around. Take care. Cheers.